Hi, I'm Silke and welcome to 2021. We made it. And it's a great feeling, isn't it? Yes, I know. Anyways, I like to talk about Connie Willis' Oxford Time Travel series. Why, you may ask? Well, because of time travel. Why, you may ask again? Why Connie Willis? And yes, I give you that. Connie Willis' type of time travel isn't your typical type of time travel. But I hope at the end of the video you will know why I really like her. So first of all, about the books. There are 4 books in the series. The first one is called The Doomsday Book, was published in 1992, and we travel back to the medieval times. The second one is called To Say Nothing of the Dog, published in 1998. We travel back to the Victorian era, which is the 19th century. The third and the fourth book, well, I think that's actually one massive book, and it's just gotten so out of hand and so big that Willis had to split it. The first one is called Blackout, and the second one All Clear. And we travel back to World War II around 1940. And both of these books were published within 4 weeks in 2010. I mentioned that it's not a typical type of time travel. So what is? Well, usually there are 2 types of scenarios, aren't they? One is something horrible will happen in the future and started already in the past. So we have to go back to the past and change it. The second one is something horrible happened in the past, which affects our present and our future so much that we really do have to go back and change it. So what do? Well, we send men and women of action, adventurers that travel back into time, do things, change things, kill, maybe even get killed themselves. We hope not, but things happen. And they will do anything necessary to fix time. Not so much in Connie Willis' type of time travel. She sends historians back into time, and actually they can't change anything. They're just there to observe. I'm an historian myself. I'm a medievalist, and I think it would be so great, just the best, to travel back to the coronation of a medieval king or to an event that shaped history. And it would be even greater, I think, for things like social studies or gender studies. Because when it comes to medieval times, we actually don't know a lot about that. So why is that? Well, our sources are chronicles, usually. There are others, but our main sources are chronicles. They were written by monks, and they followed certain topoi, so they knew how kings and queens were supposed to behave, and that's what you read. There is not so much anything like medieval gossip in there, and I'm as outraged as you may be about that. I would really love some juicy bit of medieval gossip. There's a tiny bit in some of them, but not very much. So what do we do as historians? We collect those little bits and pieces and try to put them together like a jigsaw puzzle. And we think we're right, but we can't be sure. I wouldn't go so far to say that it's just an educated guess, our theories. I think there's more to it, but we can't really say. It's just interpretation, it's a theory, and it would be great to just go back into time to see if we're really on track. So that's what I really like, this idea. Another thing I like is that she doesn't bother a lot about the physics, techniques, and workings of time travel. You really don't read a lot about it. And if you give me like 20 pages of the workings of time travel, I will be like, yes, okay, now go back to the story. So I don't have that in the Oxford Time Travel series. What we do know is that there's the net, that's her system of time travel, and that the net has a certain type of self-security system. so it won't let you go back to points of crisis. So you can't travel into the middle of a battle, and you also you can't go back to points of time where you will be able to change history. So, for example, you couldn't travel back into time to kill Hitler. She mentions in To Say Nothing of the Dog that an historian tried it 10 times and he always failed. And what the net will do is called slippage. Slippage can be time slippage, which means you're supposed to arrive on a certain date at 10 o'clock, but arrive at 12. So there are 2 hours time slippage. Or you're supposed to arrive at Main Street, but you arrive a couple of streets further down. So that's a slippage of place. And the system does that to prevent you to change anything. Another thing I really love is that it's impeccably researched. All the periods Willis lets her historians visit. She did a really, really great job on researching them. You really feel like you're in this type of period. You don't really feel like time traveling. You think you read an historical novel at some point. And I really do like that. Also, the historians themselves that travel back into time are really, really good prepped. They get surgeries, for example. Kivrin gets her appendix removed before she travels back to time, to the medieval times. She gets implants to record her observations. Another historian gets an implant as well, some kind of babelfish, because he's supposed to act as an American reporter. He's British, and he gets this implant, speech implant, to enable him to speak in this American accent. Spoiler: it doesn't work. Yes, and they also learn remedies of the time and things they need of the time for this particular time period. For example, Middle English, Anglo-Saxon English, the social workings of the Victorian era, and so on, just to make sure that they can act as locals of the time. What's also interesting is that something always is going wrong because of erratic people or just things happen. They lose their historians and have to look for them. For example, in the Doomsday Book, there's a pandemic in the present, in the 2060s, Oxford. A pandemic around Christmas with influenza symptoms. 2020 says hello. Now go away, 2020. So that's why they can get Kivrin back. Yes, and it's really amazing. It's really humorous. So if you like humorous, good written books, try Connie Willis and a little bit of time travel. There's not so much a utopia or a dystopia she describes. So if you're into that, it may not be your type of book or books. But as I said, if you enjoy good writing, a little bit of fun and a good story, go and read Connie Willis. It's really worth it. So much about me. We know that 2021 is the time of Mad Max, so take care of yourself still and have a good time. Bye-bye.